Okay, it seems to be there is a copy streaming link. Okay. Set to the watch party. It is great. Okay, so welcome to day 3 of the GF Summer School. Today we're going to just continue from where we left off with a couple of updates. So on 8 p.m. today and tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Singapore time, we've added a unofficial Zoom session for, just a regular time that you can come to Zoom if you want to interact with people, and you can ask questions. Arne will be there, I will be there, or just random chit chat, or if you want to give a spontaneous talk or demo, or request things like I might do something about like how to install different editor modes, or like tips and tricks, that kind of stuff. So like anything you want. So that's a time to be on Zoom. And on Friday, so we have a tradition in the GF Summer Schools that the participants give presentations on the first week Friday about their GF Summer School project plans, and then on the second Friday what they actually did. So what is a GF Summer School project? So it can be anything, like something fun related to GF. Like here in class we have had some examples like a music grammar, or formalizing the use of discourse particle in Singlish. That's the variant of English spoken in Singapore, but it can be anything you want to. So like previous projects, we have some examples what people have done. We have like, there's for instance, this was Telegram bot, and here we had a Twitter bot using GF. Then we've had stuff like resource grammars, like improving, making new, or just doing stuff like testing, and then bindings to other programming languages like here, and yeah, and anything you want to do with GF that somehow involves GF, like you can adjust it to your level of, like, the project can be just making a new concrete syntax for food grammar in some language that you're learning, for instance. Yeah, if you want any inspiration, just talk to people. And then finally on 4 p.m, this was already in the program, but just as a reminder, today and tomorrow at 4 p.m. Singapore time, we're going to have some extra talks by me. These are independent from morning program, so you can watch them anytime. They will also be recorded. Do you have any questions about anything logistics, or shall I just continue from where we left yesterday? Oh, you can ask anytime. So let me switch to a text editor. Oh, hello, morning or evening. I just finished talking about logistics, that there is going to be the time slot 8 p.m. Singapore time. That's for general chit chat, spontaneous talks, anything you want to. Now I'm going to continue from where we left off yesterday. Screen again. So this is, oh no, this is actually Malay resource grammar, but well, we left off with some improvements to this dummy microgrammar. And so yesterday I was showing Emacs, so today I'm going to show VS Code just to give you some ideas of the different editor modes. Let's open a new poster. So we are in the GF Summer School report, and yeah, we're still on day 2. Let's open this. So we had this microlang abstract, and then we had this microlang dummy, which we have been updating. Maybe the first thing we can do today is to just copy that into microlang ing, because it's starting to become more and more English-like and less of this pigeon dummy version. Side. Yes, okay. So yeah, let me change the name. So when we change the name of a file, of a module, we need to change both the name and what it says here. So immediately, actually, we get an error. This is now the VS Code plugin. So I change the name here, and it's telling that module name microlang dummy differs from file name microlang eng. So this and this disappears. This VS Code plugin is still a bit of a work in progress, so you can ignore this helpful your type info here. Okay, so now, yeah, now we have the terminal here. So I think this doesn't have a shortcut for, like in Emacs mode, you just press Ctrl+C+L and it compiles it. But here we just need to do gf microlang eng.gf, and here it's compiled. Okay, so what we did yesterday, let's look at the commit history, actually. What did we do? We started with number agreement, and we added a resource module, which was this res-eng. Then we had this work in progress verb agreement with subject, and then we added this new agreement module. And so we were at the point where we could do the cat jumps and the cat's jump, and even I jump. I am they can add, yeah, whatever. I am a cat. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay. Oh, I am small. That works. And then the other pronouns, like we only had like they are small. Yeah. So what we have not done, we have not done anything that takes an object. So we do have some verbs like let's see. We can if we want to see the lexicon, let's do AIV2, and it shows us a couple of these. So AI is for abstract info. Yeah. Tells us the category and all the functions that create items of this category. So if we do linearize -all for a verb like eat, oh, sorry, it has to be eat v2, then we get different forms like I eat, he, she, it eats, you, we, they eat. But we can't actually parse, like we can't say that yet that I eat the cat. No, I would not eat the cat. I'm vegan. Even though we do have we have all the lexicon we need for this. We have cat noun, and we do have the eat v2, but we can't do I eat the cat because we don't have what is missing. It's the comp of v2. And to introduce this, we need to now introduce the topic of case. So let's do that. The treatment of pronouns is not complete until we have case. So this means new parameter, yay. Because we want to say, we want to say like, I eat you and you eat me. Maybe I should have chosen a better verb, like, this is just syntax we're doing here, not semantics. So let's go to the resource module. Nice. So far we have the parameters number and this verb agreement where we have 3 forms here because the most complex English verb is the copula, and that inflects differently for first person and third person and the rest. So new parameter, let's call this, what do we call it? We're doing case. So we're doing nominative. Well, okay, you is the same actually. And accusative. Me, her. So this is what we're doing. And for obviously for any noun phrase, other noun phrases, it's going to be the same. So now where are we going to add that? So we don't need to add it to the noun. So because like, okay, it would be very redundant because like all of the nouns, every noun ever would not have this distinction. So we would not do this. This is just redundant. So don't do that. So let's look at the NP again. How do we get NPs? Either from det and cn, and again, like we can look at the graphical tree again. So open. So this is, this is like the this is how we get some noun phrases. So it's determiner and cn, and then the cn takes an n. So we don't need to, like we don't need to care about case in this in NPs that come from this origin, but we do need to care about cases in this. So then it's like when we decide like in which category do we put a param, it's always like according to the worst, like the worst case. That's very strange of me as a Finnish speaker to say that it's the worst case when we have cases. Like I think it's the best case. 2 is way too little. We need at least 15. But anyway, so like the most we need. So right. So we don't need to put it in noun, but we need to make sure that it appears in noun phrase. So we don't need to change this, but we do need to change this. And it's variable because it's just like, you have the form I or me, and then it's later on, it's decided which one it is. So we put it as the left-hand side of the table, case to string. So now if we want to, we can make sure that the resource module compiles. So import reseng. Oh, so it's already here we have an error. So obviously, like if I would import this microlang eng, that would completely like give you hundreds errors probably, or many. But let's, so already we see that the resource module gives us errors. So let's fix that first. Oh yeah, and even the GF, actually, yeah, we don't even, if you have the GF language server working, so then we don't even need to compile it because we will get this immediately. Oh yeah, right. Okay, I'm here, and then I see this red thingy here, so I can just scroll down and see, oh, there's an error. And then when I hover on it, I see exactly the same error that I see in the terminal. Okay, type of str. So this str here, expected, inflection table, case to string, infer to string. This is logical because the type of this is, this comment is now actually redundant because that's misleading because we are not ignoring me and them anymore. So we need to put here. And now we need more arguments. So we need to give it 2 arguments. So we can do like this, but we can also actually, this is like not extremely useful type signature. Okay, so let's just like, I'm gonna show you like the stupid way of doing it. So suppose we do like nominative is str1 and accusative is str2. So now the type error actually disappeared. I can even confirm it in the, but like, so this is not extremely helpful because if you just see the type signature, you don't like, okay, what are the strings? Like we could give them some names. So obviously we can always give them any variable names we want to. So let me call str1 nominative or nom, and str2, I'm gonna call it ak. So this is a bit better. But we can also even make, there is a syntax, we can make the type signature look a bit nicer. So let me keep this here. This is like just first argument, second argument, third argument, everything separated by arrows. We can make it nicer like this. We can give them some names here, like they are not bound to anything, they're just kind of, you know, when you just see the type signature, you can kind of know what it is. So we can also call them, like we can call them also here, nom-ak strings. So this also makes it shorter because, like, let's say you have like 15 strings, then you can do, like, here's an example, like random, and we copied this for like thousands of times. We can instead write it like this: prime of type x1 underscore 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is like the 2 ways of writing type signatures for, like, yeah, for any GF. Like usually these are kind of more used for operas, but like the syntax is the same for both like funds and operas and anything. Okay, so that was just a side note. Oh yeah, now it's complaining because there's no definition given to operation. So let's just comment this out. And to or opera, just 2 alternative syntaxes. Yeah. If I'm boring you with this, like I'm just like, this is like, this first week is kind of like, you know, get used to seeing the GF code and like get these chunks in your head, and then when you go to more advanced things, you don't get stuck in these like, oh, what does it mean? We have this comma and underscore. So I'm just like saying these as they come to my mind. Okay, so that was a bit of a sidetrack. So what we're doing is we need to now give 2 arguments to mkepron, and we see that the resource module compiles. So let's try now compiling the microeng.gf, and here we're getting errors as expected. Yeah, a whole lot of errors because, you know, we have the lexical functions here, like all these pronouns, and then we have all the functions that use both NPs and pronouns. So remember we changed the lingas like this, and then we changed we change the type of noun phrase like this. So let's look at them. Let's start from the lexical. So the first ones are, it's saying that of all these lexical functions of pronouns, it's expected string, but inferred. Yeah, this is again, like when we look at it, it might be a bit more clear. So mkpron now takes 2 strings and the verb agr. But then when we give it only 1 string and a verb agr, it says that, oh, first I get a string, I'm happy. And then the next one, I thought I would get a string, but I got instead a verb agr. So that's what it's saying. It could also say, maybe a more helpful thing would be like, I wanted 3 arguments, I only got 2. But it's kind of getting stuck already because it's reading the second argument and expecting a string. So we could fix it like this if we wanted to. Like, oh, now it's still wrong in other ways, but now those errors disappeared. But yeah, obviously now we need to put some extra values here. So this is the first is the string for nominative and the second is for accusative. So we say I, me, him, she, her, they, them. If you're wondering how do we do the singular they, the answer is like, because grammatically I think most often it behaves as plural, so this would still be the singular they. So we could actually, like in the actual resource kernel library, we have already pronouns like you, sg, you, pl, usg, pron, you, pl, pron, blah blah blah. So if this, so it could be useful to also separate they pron into they sg pron and they pl pron, and then but we give them like it could be useful to separate these for the sake of translation equivalent, because in other languages like the singular they in the sense of gender neutral pronoun could be different from the plural they. So then it's better for multilingual perspectives to have 2 entries. But if they make the verb agreement always the same, then the 2 entries would just be identical. That was a side note, but just okay. So let's compile again. Yeah, again with this VS Code, actually I don't need to compile to see that there are tons of errors. So then we can save space and just go through them. Okay, so prep MP, yeah, it's again it takes an NP, so and we changed MP, so that's expected. Oh yeah, here in NP the subject. Here we're making into utterance, and here okay, I'm not sure why it's complaining about this. So this plugin is still a bit of a work in progress, but it's useful anyway. Okay, let's just start from here. Prep MP, type of mp.s, expected. Yeah, so the s is now an inflection table. So we remember we just made np into this, or we made pronoun into this. So np is the same link as pronoun. So we just choose which one we choose. If it's noun, it doesn't matter. If it's pronoun, so if we say in me, in them, so it's an accusative. Okay, so this error disappeared. That's in. So here again, what are we missing? So this is the part that we need to introduce the case table into the noun phrase. Is we remember that noun doesn't have anything about case, but noun phrase does. So if it comes from CN, we need to introduce it because it doesn't come from the noun. And if we want to make a table that is just like a empty, like doesn't matter, it's always the same, the shortest way to do it is just this. Like this. It used to be just this part, and now it's prefixed with this. So to write this a bit more verbosely, we can say table like extreme verbose is again table SG goes to this, and table PL goes to this. And when we have this, we can just might as well replace this with the wildcard. And now that we have only one thing here, we can replace this table curly braces with this. So now this is fixed. In Detsian, we introduce the table in there. And since we know it comes from, so this is like exactly the same thing again, like we know that it's, here we knew that it's always third person because it comes from a noun. So it can't be first person. And here again, we know it comes from a noun, so it can't have the pronoun case inflection. So interesting enough. So this again, this is like no problem whatsoever because we changed the link out of both pronoun and NP, so we don't need to change anything in here. Okay, two more. Fred VPS. So this is now easy. We know that this NP will always be a subject. So we choose the nominative. So this relates a bit, yesterday there was a question like, where do the parameters come from? Like the sort of the flow of the operator, like flow of the information flow in the tree. And I gave some examples. No, I don't have any open, but like, okay, so, you know, maybe it comes from the roots because there is some noun that has an inherent, and there's a determinant that has an inherent number. But like in this case, it like this, the choice of this nominative comes from the syntactic function. Like basically whenever we, in a linearization of some GF function, when we write there like this completely like raw parameter name, it means that it comes from the function. I don't know if I'm making sense, but like, okay, so that was the predicate. Yes, we need to fix everything before we can compile, so that's why we're doing this all. And now finally we have at NP. So NP is still this type here, and utterance is just one of these as a string. So we're going to choose one. P.S. And now, yeah, if we want to follow this specification, we choose the nominative. We could also choose the accusative because, like, if you want to give a standalone answer, like, oh, who's there? Who's there? It's me, or just like, who's there? Me. Maybe accusative would be better. But yeah, let's just choose nominative. Okay, so now I think we can compile. There's no errors here. Microline. And that works. So we can just, so far we did, this was all preparation before we can linearize this completely too. Or no, actually, no, it's untrue because we had the prep NP. So now I can say, then, and that's now the linearization. Sorry. So this is like the first example of something that chooses the accusative from a noun phrase. And yeah, obviously if we say in the house, this is like, this noun phrase is invariable. We can also look at we can linearize things like, we can again look at the L-all. So write on all the parentheses. So this is two forms of the same, and then This one has an inflection table. And then. Okay, so any questions of anything? I'm just checking. I haven't missed anything on Discord. Questions channel. Okay. So now let's do the Compo V2, so we can finally say that I pet the cat. I love the cat. I don't eat the cat. Unfortunately, we can't say I don't eat the cat in this grammar because this is just a micro language. So we need to move on to the mini grammar to say I don't eat the cat. Okay, Compo V2, where are we? Here. We commented this out like long time ago yesterday when we were getting errors about it, and we hadn't even touched anything related to verbs. So she's like, well, let's ignore this for now. And now the time has come to not ignore it anymore. So this is not just a GF summer school, this is like self-help general life advice. When you ignore something, make sure you return to it. So what do? Now it's wrong because because when we commented out, everything was just a string. So, but we have seen this already before. So now we choose the accusative from here. Oh, why is it not? Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. So because with more errors. So like this, remember what's the link at VP? Where do we have? Yeah, this is the link at VP. It's the link at all of them. So we actually, so there is already this table inside the V2. So what we need to do is we need to keep the table. I'm just going to use the syntax directly because you've seen it many times. So we give some variable name because we want to keep the table. We don't just want to overwrite whatever is there. So this VAgr, we choose the same VAgr from the V2, and then we just add on top this accusative, the MP in accusative form. So now this works. Yeah, if I in GF shell, if I press R, it means just like do the latest, like redo the latest import. Here. Now I can finally say, let's say, I love the cat. Yay! Okay. So what can we say about this? Oh yeah, this wasn't even super exciting because this is not a pronoun, but just look at this pretty tree. We've been working since yesterday, and now this is like almost the height of the complexity we're going to get in this micro language. So now we just test the pronouns. I love them. Works. And then we can also say they love me. And that works too. So we see that we have nominative and accusative are correct here. I'm going to actually talk about testing your grammars tomorrow, but like just as a sneak peek, like when you're developing something, it's a good idea to have like a list of example sentences that you want your grammar to be able to pass. So what I would do, like now I'm pretty happy about all this, so I'm going to talk a bit more principled about this tomorrow, but like just a sneak peek, I would make a new file. No, sorry, how do I make a new file? Like this. For corpus.gfs. That's GFS is like a script, GF script. So I would parse like this. Let's do L3 bank. Nice format. So I would just basically like put these in a file like L3 bank. Yeah, this is good. And then I love the cat also, maybe because it's a good sentence. So this would be like my initial tests. Oh yeah, actually, sorry, this GFS, like you do kind of. So that's okay. So this is actually, sorry, this is a better format. I would this. So what I do here, I'm gonna show this again tomorrow. So this is like import micro.gf and then linearize this, linearize this, linearize this. This is my script, and then when I can do gf -- run corpus.gfs, and then it gives me these. I can put it in another file called corpus.old, and then I can write some like short bash script that compares, like it runs this corpus and then it compares it to the against the gold standard. So I can gf run corpus.gfs and then oh sorry, this is diff, and that works. So then if we change, let's say let's say now we change the grammar. We say that okay, we do nominative instead. Now we do the diff, and then oh, it's different now. Sorry, maybe I need to give a better flag. So this is now, we changed the grammar, and we had the gold standard where the nominative inaccuracy is correct. And now when I run this my script, or in this case just this one-liner, I see that so in the gold we had this and this, but now we're getting this wrong. So this would alert me to that I made a mistake. But yeah, as said, more on this tomorrow. Just if you were wondering, it's always very good to work with example sentences.
What about reflexive pronouns? So, all right.
Yeah.
Now we would get past I love me.
Yeah. So that would, let's see. Yeah, I mean, we can, yeah, in the full Rhesus grammar library, they are different trees. So question. So let me just show you the full Rhesus grammar. I love myself. So there's a function called reflvp, which takes it makes a VP. So let's just there's also some parses. So the function reflvp makes a VP that, like in the mini grammar we have compl v2, which takes a verb and a noun phrase, but in this case the reflvp would take just the verb and then put an inflection table there that is like according to the object. So this is a good example why, like I was just saying that, oh, it's so redundant to have this like inflection table in the VP because it's just a copy that inflects. But this is actually, yeah, we could totally add we can add reflvp to this mini language, a micro language. I think it's fun.
So the I love me is cast nevertheless.
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
that is,
There are different, I mean, you can say that in some language. Sorry, you can say it in some situation. Like if you think of like hypotheticals, like, oh, I wouldn't hire me if I were you. Like, I wouldn't love me if I were you. You can say it to your partner if you're dramatic or something.
okay. Yeah.
Like that's like that. I wouldn't love me is just like a conditional negative of I love me. So, so definitely. So this is like another good example how resource kernel library is not for creating like it's a collection of syntactic trees, and then it's not for creating translation equivalents, it's not for creating semantics, it's for being a collection from which you can pick and mix whenever you need some syntactic structure. And you get a lot of nonsense, but that's how it's supposed to go, because we have application grammars where you're supposed to restrict the nonsense. But yeah, that's I want to do this reflexive now because that's a good thing to add. It doesn't really, we don't need to do like, it's just another function. So I'm gonna go to microlang, and we had a compl v2 here. And I'm just gonna add refl v, what's the name of the scheme here now? It's a bit random, but I'm just gonna call it refl v2, which takes just the v2 and returns a vp. And this is perfect because we have the category of VP is, it has the full verb agreement, and noun phrase has the full verb agreement. So we can just translate this into myself, yourself. Oh, no, yeah, that's right. It doesn't. Huh. Okay, but so in this case, because I don't have yourself, so this is actually a reason to add that. So, okay, so we do need to add this, but that's perfect. Yeah, finally something. So like this is something that you often realize in GF grammars. Like, okay, so maybe in traditional grammar, like we can all agree that the verb doesn't inflect differently for you, for they, for we, but like it does inflect. We can say that the verb phrase inflects, like agrees with them, because we can have the reflexive as a part of the verb phrase. So this is, yeah, this is pretty nice.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a little bit what I was wondering yesterday. So,
yeah, okay.
So we made some general assumption about how grammars work. So, so that you say, for example, that yeah, so like the information flow. So you say, for example, the noun phrase can influence the verb phrase, but not reverse that.
Yeah, so I mean,
so is that universally like that in all languages, or do you have well, inverse effects that the verb phrase has an impact on you?
So the question was like, if this was back to the question about the information flow, and if it's, what was the question? Like universally that it's always the noun phrase that affects the verb phrase instead of vice versa. So like, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, as my like linguistic opinion, like I would not really care about like universals that much. I'm always excited to get like do a new language in GF, because then you get these phenomena that you didn't have in the previous language, and then you're like, how if we add an adverb at this stage, does that affect this string that we thought it was fixed here? So now we need to change this whole structure, and oh, so exciting. Like I'm definitely going to talk about this next week Tuesday. Like this is yeah, I forgot what we were talking about. Yeah.
So maybe we just integrate this.
Yeah. Yes, so I can never remember what I was talking about. So, right, so I was saying that like when we write GF grammar, like this is, again, this is not saying that like I'm not saying anything about how language works, anything about psycholinguistics. This is just the design choices that we've made in the resource kernel library or in this microlang that say that, okay, so since we've decided to handle reflexive in this way, do I still have the PDF? No. Well, let me just show it again. In this way, that it's the yeah, so we have in the design of the resource kernel library, we have decided that the reflexive is something that takes a V2, you can ignore VP slash for now, and makes it a VP. And then this this is like this is the agreement that like the inherent parameter in the subject picks not just the right verb form, like I am, you are, but also like I am myself, you are yourself. And then that means that even though the verb doesn't inflect, like I see, you see, what effectively inflects agrees is the VP. So I see myself, because the VP has see myself, see yourself, see himself, see herself. Yeah, I guess that would be a reason to separate the singular they if you want to do themselves and themselves. That's a good reason to separate the two pronouns. So we go a bit more abstract than just saying that, okay, verbs only agree in these 3 forms in the worst case and 2 forms in the regular English case. But the VP, when we introduce REFL VP, now it suddenly inflects in like 8 ways, because you also have it sees itself. And yeah, that's a very good questions. So let's do this. Let's do this. Yeah. I think I'm not even sure if this reflexive is already in the mini grammar, but like we were actually done with this micro grammar. I would have gone to the mini grammar now, but we can just, extend this. We don't need to go to a new file. So, or actually, is it time for break? Maybe it's time for break. I've been talking for almost an hour, so yeah, let's go for a break. Any questions? Oh, maybe I can. Hello, everyone. This is my face again. Any questions from now? I suggest we continue. Well, let's take a full 15 minutes. So we here in the classroom can go out a bit and walk and grab some whatever we have from the tea breaks. So we continue 5:10. Hi everyone. The people are still eating some curry puffs, so why rush them? Because it's not like we need to start exactly 5 past 10. So let's just take 5-ish minutes more. So I can give you some monologue meanwhile. So it was brought to my attention that maybe not everyone knows what I mean when I say like nominative, accusative, infinitive, that kind of stuff. So I just got handed this book as a prop. So, so the bottom line, wow, is that if I'm using terminology that you don't understand, just interrupt me, ask in a chat like, oh, can you explain what that word means? So the idea is that everyone should understand what I'm saying. Okay, so we resume after the curry puffs have been eaten. Okay, welcome back. The people have eaten their curry puffs, and you can see the classroom is full again. So yeah, let's continue from where we left off. Just getting my mask entangled. Screen. Yeah, So we made the, we had finished the rest of the stuff with the cases, and we put it in the, yeah, this is supposed to be the object case. I just showed this wrong for demo's sake. So, right, we finished the cases, and then we were talking about reflexives. So let me just commit all these things here and yeah. Commit this, and I'll also commit the test. And now I'm pushing this to the main, so you can get it right when you if you just pull. Yeah, also add a git ignore. Pushing that too. Okay, so here we have the REFL v2. So far we just added it there, but we didn't do any implementation. So if we now do GF microlang eng, we're getting a warning, no linearization of REFL v2. Oh yeah, also we don't have linearization for add VP, but yeah, okay, that's not important. It's nothing new theoretically. So. Okay, so that's where we're at. We want to add the REFL v2. So usually when I add linearizations for the funds, I like to keep like a copy of the type signature. So I'm going to, and then the example. So I'm going to do it here too. REFL v2 2. Now what are we going to do here? Just to like the most stupidest thing we can do is to, okay, so the absolute stupidest thing we can do is just to don't add anything. So now we would do like R, and then we would linearize REFL v2, love v2, we just get love. Okay, that's type correct, but it's incorrect. Then the next thing we can do, we can add some invariable string. So we see how we did it here. Let's copy this, but now we don't have any NP, so we just say myself. And now this is like, now when we would say that, okay, I love myself, that would happen to be correct, but we can also say that's like, he loves myself, and that's obviously not what we want. So like, what we want to do is that inside, so like, okay, so in the verb, like I agree, we would not need to put the inflection table of myself, yourself, but when we would get this REFL v2 love v2, like here we would want to have like the inflection table of the VP would now be love myself, love yourself, loves himself, loves herself, loves itself, love ourselves, love yourselves, love themselves. So inflection table of a verb is still just the verb inflection, but the inflection table of the VP would include all this stuff. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to separate the, I'm going to split the linkets here. VP is now, that would be one thing. So I'm going to make a new category, and then verb would be another category. And actually what I think I'm going to do now I'm going to keep, now I'm going to do the split that I mentioned very briefly yesterday, that it's kind of redundant to have all this like jump, love, loves, love in all verbs because it only happens in copula. Love, loves is enough for all the verbs but the copula. So now I'm going to do that split. I'm going to put this to be number again. And now then here, then get of VP, that's now going to be, oh, sorry. It should be phrased here. So this is now what I'm going to do. And now I'm going to get a tons of errors, but let's just do one by one. So, oh yeah, and then I'm also going to have to change this. So now I'm kind of like, I feel kind of strange about the name verb agr right now, because we've kind of established we need to put actually like all the, it's really just like person agreement, because it will be in a VP, but it's not really verb agreement. So I'm just gonna completely arbitrarily change the name of this. So F replace, I'm just gonna call it agr, and that's it. And now I can actually make it a bit sort of, I can make it a bit more compositional, because we already have number, and then I can do a person. Or I can make the person into the constructor as well. So P1, this is, oh yeah, in third person we actually do need to differentiate gender. So let's do one thing at a time. I'm like thinking faster than I speak. So P1 number. So now the P1 is the constructor. P2 number. And now we have, these comments are a bit misleading. When we have the third person, so what we could do again, like P3 number gender, and of course introduce a new gender here. This is like one way. But now if we think like what will happen with like what's the combination of these? So this would become then like P1 SG, P1 PL, the same for P2, and then we would get P3 SG fem, P3 SG mask, P3 PL fem, P3 PL mask. But actually, like this is a distinction that doesn't exist in English. It's like it's just like it exists in other language. Like in Spanish, you would have like ellos and ellas, but this is not in English, so we don't need to waste space in these parameters. What we can do is to make, we call the constructors, which is we split this in, instead of 4 we need 3, so we can just make it explicit. P3 P3 SG takes gender, and then finally P3 PL, which doesn't take. So this is like, okay, if you've never seen this before, it's maybe a bit weird. So now this like, so how does this, what does this happen now? So P3 SG fem, P3 SG mask, and then we have the P3 PL. So now we have, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Yeah, that's 7. And then actually, like I said that, oh, there's 8. That's because we also have it. So it sees itself. So I could even say like this, neuter. So then we get it, or we can even put like, we can say neuter and in and that. So then we say that actually neuter could be the singlet they, and P3SG inanimate is it. Because this, like, why do we need this distinction? We have 9 now. It's because this is, if we want to say that singular they is themselves and plural they is themselves. So this is why we need 9 values of this parameter. Okay. And this is how this is one syntax of doing this. Like, maybe I mean, you can write this in different syntaxes. Like these are basically constructors, but we could also say that we can have another constructor and we can make these into a parameter. But like it doesn't matter because like the end result is we have 9 values, and this is a bit shorter to write like this. So we keep it like this. No. Okay, so now we have suddenly we went from 3 to 9. So that's all thanks to reflexive. So that's a pretty good example. So where do we insert these fields now? Seeing errors, but that's expected. Yeah, we will. Okay, so let's just keep in mind this exists now, but let's look at the errors first and just keep in mind what we're doing. We just changed the linkage of V and V2 different from VP, and now this verb is suddenly a number again. So let's go and fix that first. So we just changed the names here. And now the copula is actually from agar. Let's do this. One is to this. Yeah. So now this is like, if you're wondering what I just did, is that I'm lazy. Like this is shorthand. I could have also done like, you know, P1 PL R, P2 SG R, P2 plural R, but like I'm going to have to type like so many times R that I'm just really like, what I'm interested is like, I'm just like doing, it's really just 3 different forms for the copula. That makes sense because the parameter we used to have had 3 different values. So I am. Oh yeah. So now we have the, I was going to say that like, yeah, all the singulars are like same, but actually we have the difference here, P3SG, the singular they. We need to, that's a special case because you can't say they is. The difference is only in the reflexive pronoun. So let's put the special case first. Are. They are they. But all the others of singular third person are is. So he, she, it is. And everything else is now are. You. They. Are. So this is the order is like the order is important because this singlet A is using the same constructor as the other third person singlets. So that's why if I had put this first, then this wildcard would have affected everything. I could have also written like this. I could have like written it explicitly, like mask animate, and commented this out, and then have the rest be like the rest is covered by this, but it's well, okay, it's marginally shorter. Then it's like I'd write 2 lines instead of 3 lines. So that's the alternatives here. And I choose to write like this because it's like, this is the special case with this constructor, catch all with this constructor, and catch all with every other constructors. It's also P1, P2. We already covered the P3 SG. Okay. So now we changed the copula. And we reverted the MKV. So it used to be like this. It used to be just none, but then we made it into this verb agra, and now we're actually making it back to number, because that's what happens when you program. I mean, this is like every programming. You have an idea, then you do it, then you get a new idea, then the specification changes, you need to add more features, so then you refactor your old. So this is like grammar engineering, software engineering. It's exactly the same thing. That's what I'm doing here, refactoring. So I see no errors anymore in the resource module. We can even test here. Like, yeah, that's what you should do if you're not developing in VS Code with the GF language server, because no other editor will give you this like errors right away. Okay, so we don't need to change the lexicon here because all of these, we didn't change the API of the constructor. This MKV, it still takes 1 string, and we just changed the internals of the table. So no need to change anything in the lexicon. But now let's see, what do we need to change in other places? Because there will be things we need to change. Microline. Okay. Oh, we have a syntax error. That's why we're not getting any other errors. Yeah, we have an extra comma here. So yes, now that I fixed the syntax error, now we're getting all the other errors. So remember when we had this, like yesterday when we added we split the verb agr, which is now just agr. And then we had to make it so that pronouns, where do we have pronouns? Oh, we don't even have it. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, because the type of noun phrases had this inherent agr, but noun didn't have it. But noun, so this was like determiner has an inherent number, and then agr is something that includes number. Sort of. So, and then we need this pattern match here. So now we changed these numbers. So P3SG gender. So this now we need this constructor name is the same, but it takes an argument. So this is going to be noun, so we know it's all going to be inanimate. So we're just going to say inanimate. So then it will work like the cat sees itself. That's actually pretty good. We didn't have this before, but we didn't even have the pronoun for it. Now we're going to have an inanimate, so we can say the cat sees itself. And the plural, we used to have this when it was a verb agreement, but this is more fine-grained now, so we're just going to call it P3PL. So this works now. And now we need to actually change all of these. So P1SG, P3, P3SG mask, and this is P3PL. Oh yeah. Sorry, if also like when I give these values with the but these are like the structure, I need to put them in parentheses because this might be a bit confusing if you're never used to any like Haskell or other language like that. So just remember like this P1 here, like it's not just any value, it's a constructor and it takes number as its argument. Yeah, it's kind of like to make this simpler, maybe we could even like we might as well rewrite it as like, you know, like replace these with like underscores, but then I mean that's what would be equally well. Then we just need to write the things out here, so it's to have them as constructors and arguments just makes it we save some space here when we don't need to write 9 lines. We can do it 4 lines. Yeah. So now we're giving these as arguments to the mkpron. Again, we didn't change mkpron at all because like it used to have, we didn't need to change the definition here because like all we did was to change what values agr takes. Like what this opera does is just to, you know, place it in the appropriate slot. And then we had to change these lins because I was actually calling some concrete values of these, and the concrete values had changed. Okay, now I talked about so much, so let's do this. Oh yeah, so now we get these errors. We changed the v2. And so yeah, we went back from we used to have v2 and vp all the same type, but now we made it so that the v and v2, the lexical categories, have the simpler param, and only vp has the one with 9 values. So we need to convert between those two. Yeah, that's no problem because again, the only place where we need the 5 values is in refl v2. And in anything else, we can just, you know, we don't care because it's just gonna be it's just gonna be one of the 3, or it's actually just gonna be one of the 2 because the only one that needs 3 is the copula, and the only one that needs 5, it needs 9 is reflexive. So this is like very lossless conversion. It's no problem. We have 2 and we just need to map the 2 onto 9. That's fine. So let's go to compl v2. So now we can't choose the v agr anymore. We choose instead, let's make a helper function, because this is the one that converts v2 into vp, v2 into vp, and again here v into vp. So num, oh yeah, sorry, this is going to be an opera, not a param. To agr number, make it to table again, number to agr. You can always use the case syntax whenever you use a table, it's just syntactic sugar. Okay, so table singular is going to be, oh, it's going to be B3 SG, like it can be anything. So I can just say inanimate. Like it won't matter in the in this context, like in this context, in USV and complete too, because we don't add a reflexive, it can be anything. I could put feminine, masculine. I would not put neuter because that's the singular they, but I could put feminine, masculine, inanimate, anything. PL, that's going to be P3 PL. And again, I know this is enough because the only one that actually introduces the copula is this, and we are using it, so that's no problem. Okay, so num-agr, I made this help conversion function now. So many questions anywhere. Okay, so the conversion function num to agr, I'm going to use it here. Num to agr. Yeah, and this is no longer. Oh, sorry. It has to be. Sorry, I've been talking complete bullshit now. It's, of course, it needs to be the other way around. It needs to be agr to num because we have a number inside this here. So my bad. Well, we can keep this. Maybe we need it at some point. So let's then take agr to num. And that's table. One, two, anything. Yeah, let's take the ones that are. Oh yeah, again, I don't really even need to do this that much, but because I'm using it there. But let's make it proper now. So P1 SG, P2 SG, P3 SG, and mask. That's going to be SG, and all the rest is going to be. Yeah, that's how I do it. Oh, it's I need to also give the right name. So it's agr to number. Yeah. So these pipe characters is just saying like that's it's variants, like either it's this or it's this or it's this followed by any of the three. So I don't need to write 9 lines. I can just, it's really just two cases. Yeah. So this is the lossless thing, because now we're converting, like we have to take into account one of the 9 and they will be mapped to 2. We take care of all the cases. No, it's, yeah, actually, that was not the right term. It's that injective or surjective, or, well, it's not bijective. That's oh, sorry. Anyway, we have the 2 helper functions, and now we're going to do agr to num. Oh, we can even let's do it. This is a bit confusing with all of these different parentheses and exclamation marks. So I can do a let statement. So let num number. That's because this is a table. This agr to num. So we get the right value from this helper table, whatever. And then we use that thing we just got that in this expression that we, it's our final here. You have a question? Yeah?
Yeah, I agree the agreement to num, but for the other offer the number to agreement, right? Where we could only have singular or plural. Is there a particular reason why you choose only P3 SG in? Because actually, like maybe P1 SG is also singular, And yeah, so how do we, or it doesn't matter, we just take the top one.
Yeah, so the question was like, why am I choosing the P3 here? Like, so the answer is that I was on the conflict wrong track, and I was all the time thinking of the case where we know that whatever we're converting between is just going to be third person, but I realized that I was actually completely wrong, and this was completely irrelevant.
Okay.
So this is what we actually need. So yeah, actually I can remove this, because even if I would need to rename this, like let's say like num to P3 aggro, for instance. I could call it like that, but we don't need it for anything. Like just the brain part. Yep. You know, like in any programming, you have a good idea and then you pursue it, and then you realize that you did the wrong thing. So like that's what happens. Okay, we've got the compl v2. Now it's up and running. We can even like, okay, I think we can't really test it at this point. Oh, there's a question in chat. Can you do p3sg underscore? I would, but we have singular they, which for inflection's sake is plural because it takes the verb from are. So that's the issue here. Otherwise I would. It's like I put it. I could have actually. I mean, if I wanted to, I could to make this a bit like even more confusing. I could put like. I could make it into its own like singular they or something, and remove this parameter here. But like, there are many ways of doing the same thing. So maybe some of them are more confusing than others. Okay. So, yeah, thanks for asking. Good question. Okay, so then use v, we need to do the same thing basically. We're gonna have to have s is. I'm just gonna call this agr instead of bagr because I changed the name. So s goes from agr to. Now we need to call this agr to num. So p.s. Bit funny with these like nested exclamation marks. I can actually like, okay, if that's confusing, I can show you how, because tables are just syntactic sugar for case. So how to make this into a function, that's extremely simple. I'll change this. Let me keep the old one here. Case text syntactic sugar tables. So now I call this one, this is the old one. This is a table, agr to num function. So I replace this double arrow with single, and instead of table, I write here where I need to introduce a lambda. So a arrow, and then I say case a of, and that's how we made this table into, this is like a function now. So now this function, what I do, I remove the exclamation mark. Magic. Yeah, it's too bad that this still doesn't compile. Actually, let's just comment this out for a second so that we can get it compiling. Yeah, it works again. So nothing has changed because we fiddled a lot with these parameters here. And we didn't get to adding the new thing yet, but just to, or I can show you with this test suite. Oh, there is an error. Oh, that's cool. Look how good it is that we're testing things. I love them. I love the cat. Oh, that's nice. So we do need to change this aggr to none. That's so true. So actually what we need to change is just, because I forgot what we were doing. We were doing verb inflection. So now it works. It's like we used to have like this P1SG, P2SG in the singular, but singular in here is defined in MKV. Singular is the one that adds the plus S. So that's what's completely wrong. Test suites. Save your life. Okay. I'm gonna just remove this for when we commit, because it's like kind of distracting to have a lot of crap. But I will keep this so you can just see how the case expressions are syntactic sugar tables. So here we have our upper aggregatum, which is now a function with the singular. And we use it here, and now it works. So let's do the ref of v2. Actually, let's add a test case. So corpus.gfs. I want, suppose I haven't implemented this yet, but refl v2, love v2, use pron they pron. I want this to produce the string they love themselves. And let me put it here. And now we do the test. Like the gold file says they love themselves. And then instead we get here a function type is expected for expression ref of v2. We got an express error. Yeah, obviously that's wrong because ref of v2 doesn't take an argument. So now, oh yeah, this should be I love myself, but that's because we didn't implement it yet. So that's what the actual output is. So now let's implement it. We have a test case in place. So the aggr is gonna. Now we're gonna select the again we're gonna use aggr to none aggr, and here we're going to say refl, like yeah. So now this is supposed to depend. This is not supposed to be just a string myself whatever, but it's supposed to depend on this. So that was the whole point where we introduced this 9-valued aggr. So let's make a helper function somewhere. Oh, look, I already have something spelled out. So let's just use this. Let's call it the refl pron, which is a table from aggr to string. Table ourselves, yourself. Oh, this is actually the same for both. Oh, no, it's yourself, yourselves. So it's different for both. Yourselves. self, self, and self. And now we have the themselves. So that was the reason why we separated the singular they and plural they. And now we have this. Have this, and now we can call it here. We can call refl. We can even preface it with press dot refl question mark. Now, yeah, this is again a table, so we just do this. No. Oh yeah, that's why are we getting an error here is because I put the wrong test case. So it doesn't help if your grammar is correct if you like here it says I and here I say they. So let's just fix the test case. So let's say they from love themselves. No new line at the end of the file. Oh, it's still something about the new lines. You know what? Let's just see what we're getting. And then we're going to pipe it into corpus.gold. Okay, so it needs 2 new lines. That's how it works. And now we're going to do the diff thing again. So no diff. Okay. Okay, that was quite a lot of changes. So you can digest this for a while when I commit this. Yeah, actually, you know what's useful? I can do GF microline eng, and I parse they love themselves, and then I do BP, like where does the string come from? So this is like there is no lexicon item where this comes from, because if let's save this. So this is REPL v2, and then I do they love them. So what's the difference? So here the string them comes from some actual lexicon entry. It's from an NP, which comes from a from. But here the themselves comes from a syntactic function. So like REPL v2 is v2 to VP. Why is the font size? What's the resolution here? Okay.
But this way, one has made the decision sort of that the reflexive noun phrase never takes, verb phrase never takes an explicit argument. So the argument is somehow implicit in the fact that it's a reflexive noun verb phrase. But what happens, for example, if you something like he's me and himself? So if you had something like that.
Yeah. So that's I mean we have, yeah, good question. We have functions for that in the full RGL. So we have this like special category called RNP, which is like, you can also do conjunctions, and it's something that has at some point had some reflexive in there. And so then you can say like, I hate myself and my car, for instance. Like you have all the myself and the possessive in my car. It's still variable there. And also you can also say like, if you can also add to that object R and P category something like, I hate myself and my car and the cat over there. And then if the cat over there is just a regular noun phrase, it doesn't have, that's not that's not reflexive, but you can still add it to that.
You could also imagine that just sort of like global constraints would say whether the acquisitive object is the same as the
yeah, absolutely. Like I can
the subject of the phrase, then you convert the pronoun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can do this like you could do something like, you can do a tree transformation, like whenever a tree that is of this form, where this P is the same as this P, you can just transform it into this tree if you want to. You can do that in Python, in Haskell, like outside GF, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that in GF. So, if you want in your application, like, I mean, actually, I mean, I have this very thing as an example in this blog post. I have yeah, I can show you. There's a Python notebook for all of this. So we want to, the goal of this function sorry, here. So if we give this function some argument like this, it doesn't change, but if we give it something like this, it changes into I see myself. And here is exactly how, like, this is what I see me. We can pattern match in Python, in Haskell, in JavaScript.
Can you really do pattern match like that? Because
not on GF, but I mean, not in the GF itself, but in when we have this grammar, then we compile that grammar into this portable grammar format. That's the feature that all these like Python bindings, Haskell runtime, all that reads that, and then in the other programming language we can do that. So it's like GF itself is a grammar, it generates stuff. And then we would use another programming language to like do the application, do some like manipulate that stuff. Yeah, if you're interested, like I can link this. I link it on the watch party. Python code to transform sorry, I need to type and not speak at the same time. So yeah, if you're interested in this, that's more of like an application. What can we do when we have a GF grammar that has both of these structures? And then we can do in another application is that we can translate between them as we want. In one of them, this word does not come from a lexical item, but it comes from the syntax, the syntactic function REPL-v2. And in this one, the word them, the string them, comes from this noun phrase. We can always, like, you know, if we want to like, okay, why do we want to do this? Like, we can do this in another way. Let's say, I'm gonna add a whole bunch of, I can add just noun phrases like myself, empty, self, empty, and then I can go here and just like do it. Self empty equals, I can just do, yeah, I can use the empty pronoun because that's a constructor for pronouns, but it's the same linked. So myself. SG. I know, I think it should be actually P3 SG. Yeah, I don't know. Myself. I mean, okay, this is just silly. Whatever. Yeah, let's see what happens. Like, this is complete silliness. Don't, like, this is just a silly sidetrack. Yeah, let's suppose this is singular. And what happens? Self. So now, if we could say with this, we can parse. They love myself. And oh yeah, let's do the VT. So VT. VT. So I just introduced, like, this is a cheat. I introduced something like a completely independent NP, and I can say they love myself. And if I say share both, I say I love myself with this cheat. Now I get two trees. Either this is the regular like REFL VP, and this is the one where where the myself comes from a lexical category. I'm not sure if this was an answer to any question, but I just went off a tangent.
So in your, let's say, standard resource grammar, you really have this reflexive
yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, it's I mean, why do we have like, so we don't have, okay, well, it's it's a bit complex to explain all of it, but like, we want to kind of we want to make it easy for an application grammarian to enforce that whenever you want to create a sentence and you want to be reflexive, then you don't accidentally say they love myself. I mean, you can always, like, if you want to say that, then you can create, it's very easy to create nouns. You can always say myself is a noun, and then you can give it some objects, because that's super easy. But what is hard is to enforce that, okay, so unless you want it otherwise, you can't say accidentally, they love myself. You only have they love themselves, I love myself. So that's why this structure is there, where it's kind of snuck its way into the verb inflection. And then when we have this generalization that you can say, I love myself and my cat. And also I love myself, my cat, and the neighbor's dog. That's the generalization that, okay, so instead of an NP, we have something called RNP, which at one point, somewhere there was one or more reflexive item that these are like traced into the whole RNP. And then finally, like, you can keep accumulating the verb phrase, like you can even say like, I love myself, I love himself, possessive cat, the neighbor's dog, and now I eat breakfast. And like, you can keep this sentence open, and then finally you give it the subject. And then that subject makes its way to like, okay, now it becomes myself and my cat, instead of And the neighbor's dog is still the same because that was never open for reflexivity or anything. So. Sorry, that was a long explanation. And I mean, that's that you can have that that in the full resource grammar, but it's much more complex than what I would explain right now at the third day of GF.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, question.
The first one is actually better because it clearly says like myself, whereas for the second one, the reflective one, I love that something is actually buried in that we do that. So you can't really tell what is that thing that I love.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, so the question, there was a comment that the first one is better because you can tell explicitly that it's myself is the object, whereas here you can't say what is the object. And the answer to that is that you can tell from the function name. So that's, again, like the resource grammar library does things this way because we want to make it easier for the application grammarian to enforce that you don't accidentally get I love yourself. And then if you want to introduce that, it's very easy to make. You can make any noun just, MKN myself, and you can treat it as a noun, and then you can give any noun as an object to any verb.
So every time I fall back into like, if I become I love yourself, then it will it will not be the reflective we do anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. If you want to say, if you want to go like ignore this agreement, then you would not use the REFLv2. You would create your own custom noun phrase. It's like, this is kind of a philosophical point, which I was planning to talk next week, Wednesday, more, but I can just give you a bit of a sneak peek. Yeah, I will. This is my monologue. I'll talk whatever I want. So yeah, the philosophical point about it's what is hard in making grammars is not really that much that, okay, will you be able to say some sentence? Like, can I generate some sentence? Like any grammar formalism, even like, let's take a grammar formalism. Grammar formalism, regular expressions. Okay, so yeah, all right, that's a bit more interesting. So I just grabbed this. I can also, let's make it a bit more. Oh, it does be a grep, I guess. Yeah. So this is a regular expression. I grab one or more instead of the letter O. So it matches all of this. Like, this is much more restricted than GF, but even with this, like, if I want to just say something, I can, like, this is how I make my regular expression grammar say something, like recognize something, accept something. I can just say that like this. That's how easy it is to make your grammar just say something new thing. But what is difficult is that you want it to be consistent. You can't just say, like, you want to restrict what you can say. You want to make it more sophisticated, and you want to make it easy for application grammarians to not just accept any garbage, like not to generate anything, every possible thing. So that's why we're using this REFLv2 kind of thing. Okay, I'm not sure if that answered your question, but like, I will talk more about this on Wednesday next week. Okay. Yeah, where were we? Do we need a break maybe? It's been an hour since we started, so let's take a 10-minute break. Resume 11:20. We can. Do we have the curry puffs here? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. We're starting in a second. I'm just committing my changes. I can show you. Show me committing changes. What's it?
I'm complimenting that the screen is brighter.
Oh, okay.
Because we did the whole.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, this is great. All colleagues.
I think the review there is, we must get some, we must serve. I will bring some coffee.
Okay, I've pushed my changes, or I'm pushing my changes at the moment, and
Yeah.
so I think we're starting. Feels there's a GF summer school, which is like so much of summer school is about online, sorry, like social participation. It feels silly to like, while we're having a conversation, and I'm gonna interrupt it. Okay, so I got some comments that it's good to stress that these things that we've been doing for the past yesterday and today, like you do not need to do this again for English, because we have the full resource current library, which has this and much more. Like, for instance, what I was saying about this, I love myself and my cat and the neighbor's dog. Like all those things are figured out pretty well for English, like during the past 20 years. What you do need to do from scratch is when you write a new resource grammar. If we don't have a resource grammar for Hausa, or I think we have some fragments for Amharic. Yeah, just referencing Dennis' talk yesterday. So, but if you just want to start using English, like this is not the thing you need to concentrate on. Tomorrow and Friday, I will talk more about like when you write applications, what do you need to, how to use the resources that already are there. But let's just finish today by just talk more about this linguistics and how these grammars were made. Okay. So are we missing something in the microlang? If we do, I think we still have this no linearization of add VP. So that's the final thing we're going to do. And then we say that microlang is final, and we can look at the mini lang, which, I think we had plenty of fun with microlang, and it's like, I got questions and I got off tangents. So that's not at all strange that we didn't get to do the mini lang. So we'll skip mini lang and then, yeah. Okay, let's fix this. So to comment out, what are we getting? Error. Oh yeah, that's the usual. So we're treating it as a string, but it's actually an inflection table. So we just put agar on the left-hand side, and agar after the exclamation mark, and that's how we do it. So repeating latest import with R, and now we can finally parse something like the cat sleeps. What prepositions do we have? With, okay. Yeah, cat sleeps in the house. And now we have now we can add adverbs to sentences. to verb phrases. The cat stays in the house, VT. So the trees are getting pretty deep already. So. Yeah, so since this add VP, you can add an adverbial to any VP. So how about let's combine it with the reflexive that we just had. I see myself in the house. Yep, works perfectly because this is just a VP, and add VP adds this adverbial to any VP. We can change, like, let's see what if we instead we put the cat here. So change this, we put this as a subject. Yeah, and now we get the cat sees itself in the house. Yeah. So that's that's the micro grammar. And so we're missing a lot of things from here. Like we don't have negations, we don't have questions. We have like half an hour for time for us. Like, any suggestions? What should we implement next? I think we can probably implement one more feature. We can just skip the mini line and just implement it on top of this micro line. It doesn't really matter that much. Negations, questions, any other?
Yeah.
Negation. Yeah, let's do negation. Okay. Cool. So for that, let me commit the adverbial first. It's pretty trivial fix. So we need to change the abstract syntax now. Micro line. So we've had this this thing here, which is shortcut. Like it just takes an NPM VP and goes directly to S. But now we want to have this take more arguments. It should take polarity. And let's make, so in this case, like we want to make polarity into an abstract syntax because that's going to be something that is visible in the tree. So polarity. And then of course we're going to linearize it using a parameter. But like this needs to be in the abstract syntax. Positive or negative. Then we need to give it actually is neg polarities. And then let's keep this as it was, but add a new one. Oh, I mean, actually we could do also, we could skip this whole thing. We could skip all these parameters and just add another abstract syntax tree. Like we could do just, ignore this and just call this like pred VP neg, pred VP s neg, and have it be the same. So let's do that. It's a bit simpler change. We don't add any new parameters, any new categories. We just add a new function. So, s And now we called it pred VPS neg and VP. So a wrong, simple but wrong implementation. Let's just see where we go. We can copy this and and put the string not. Okay, this is obviously wrong. And now put VPS neg, and we get this sentence: the cat sees itself in the house not. And the word not is just coming from here. So like, okay, this is not how we do things, but this is like type correct. So now we need to start thinking, like this is again about question about this information flow, like where do we need to introduce the concept negation? Is it inherent? Is it variable? In which categories does it appear? So is it a property of the verb? Yeah, so we can say, I see nods in the audience, so it could be in the verb's inflection table, for instance. I mean, in some languages, like the verb morphology is like completely different stem, or well, the stem, but like different affixes, whatever. And in some languages, it totally would be enough to just add this not here. So in English, we do negation with an auxiliary, except when we have these verbs like can, will, because then we say like, I can't do it, I won't do it, I wouldn't do it, I shouldn't do it. But in any other verbs that are not auxiliaries, if you're confused, get a book like this. Become less confused. So for any other verbs, then you do an auxiliary. So I don't jump, they don't jump, he, she, it doesn't jump. I don't see the cat, they don't see the cat. So in that case, if it's with the auxiliary, then it agrees with the subject. I don't, he, she doesn't. But if it's the can't, won't, shan't, it doesn't agree, because I can't, you can't. Yeah, actually, even the positive doesn't. Okay, so that was a lot of talk. So let's think a bit. Let's say, but it's like, so do we want to put it in an inflection table, really? Is that what we want? It's like it's not. So in this microgrammar, like we don't have any of these modal verbs like can, will, should, would. So we only have this regular, like normal verbs. So and then it's not really this that inflects. So I'd argue that we don't put any new things in the inflection table, but we do need to create some auxiliaries here. So we had the copula here. Let's make a new one. Let's copy that and make it into negation. Oh yeah, it's called work in progress copula, but actually I'm gonna call it just copula now. Make a new comic for that also. Sorry for this digression. Okay, now back to what we were doing. Here I'm going to call this now negation. I'm not. aren't, isn't, aren't. Okay. Oh, something happened on question. Yeah, so there was a question, comment on Discord. The common construction pigeon used in Singapore, and might be a good exercise to write some translation. Yeah, so this is actually very good. You're not alone. We were also talking about this yesterday in the class, that this could be a nice nice exercise for GF summer school project. So first go buy food after go home. Just buy food. Am I coming already? You coming already or no? This one down already. You love to her. Okay, oh, that's interesting. Why? What's the preposition doing here? That's cool.
Not aware of it.
Yeah, okay. You're not talking about things. Okay, yeah. I've definitely seen the use of already. That's like very. I've noticed like it's gonna.
Is that
Used.
English to say you love to her?
No, I don't. I'm not aware of it. Yeah, the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about this like yesterday in classroom, like what kind of structures people use, and like so I would do like yeah, so you were asking like without rewriting the wheel too much, what would be the best place to start? So so I'm thinking like, okay, so you could use some kind of like if you want to, like if you're more application oriented, like if you want to make semantic translations, like this, for instance, like if they are very different from each other, like I would start from something that looks like a food grammar-ish, like something that where you, yeah, okay, I mean this is good. Let's take okay, actually, oh, if they are very different, so I'd make the trees look very semantic. But if we would do this like I coming already, this would be more like mapped to a tense. So yeah. So is this like, so this is like, I think what I would do with these, they look kind of more like, I mean, they're both syntactic transformations. Yeah, I would do like for the grammar that we were talking yesterday about translating the discourse particles. I would make that look more like the foods grammar or phrasebook grammar. Well, okay, we haven't seen that. And this one I could, I mean, if you have like a good grasp of linguistics, I would do this as a variation of the mini microlang. But if you just want to get started, like you can choose whichever you want. Like we can talk more about it in the afternoon if you're around. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to do this negation. If we have time, I'll revisit this. So, okay, so here I made negation into another of these verby kind of auxiliaries, like oppers. And then I would insert it. So we do need some kind of, we do need a polarity here. Oh, sorry. I meant do not. Yeah, I meant don't instead of yeah. We do need also negated copula for this, like comp VP. So you will then want to say that the flower isn't beautiful, but let's ignore this. But just now we have don't and doesn't and don't again, just because I'm lazy. And okay, so this is the negation now, and we're inserting it. So this is like the quick and dirty way to make it negation. So negation p dot agreement plus plus, and then since we have the one that agrees with the VPs, the one that agrees with the subject inherent agreement is now the negation. So then we can just basically use any of these. Except if this is the yeah, we would need the infinitive here now. So let's add. Yeah, okay, this gets a bit complicated, a bit confusing, because we have suddenly like the agreement here. This might be a bit messy, but I'm just gonna add quickly the infinitive here. That's to eat, to drink, be, like, so okay, that thing. I'm gonna add that to it's not really the right place to have it, but like I actually just to make this compile, I'm a bit in a rush here because I want to get time for the other question too, but we have the reasons kind of library where this is all sorted out, so this is just like quick and dirty to get some ideas. And I have underscores here already, so it's like it's infinitive e, and here the infinitive is do. Yeah, it's kind of because this is not really agreement. I would need to split it in like two. I would split it in the forms like verb form and agreement, and then translate between those two. So it's a bit strange. So then I would choose the infinitive here. And does this compile? This is not gonna work with the reflexive because that was special case, but let's generate a random like that. The cat doesn't jump. The cat doesn't eat them. I don't jump. I don't love the cat. So this works sort of for now, but we do need to actually tweak something, because if I try to do the reflexive now, it's like it's gonna give me those question marks. So the cat doesn't see question mark in the house. So I mean, this is completely salvageable if I just had given a bit more thought to it. But like, so I would continue from this and then like fix it properly. I would split those parameters and like do a bit more tweaking. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about this new use case. So let's spend the last 15 minutes with this. I can commit this and just to, it's kind of that attempt at negation. Don't do this at home. But yeah, I'm just a human. Okay, so approach for this is a corpus. Let's do a completely new thing. So if we would do this like in a sort of foods grammar-ish approach, I'll do, let's make abstract syntax. English.gf. Oh, apparently it's, well, I can change text editor because there is also a GF mode for Atom, so welcome. So abstract English. Let's see, what do we want to achieve? So yeah, we can make a start cat would be a phrase. Yeah, you're saying something?
I feel that the second and third one, I can relate to them, but the rest I cannot.
Okay. Okay. It's not really the same as English. Okay,
Oh.
right. Construction pigeon. Okay, sorry. So let's call it. Is that the good name? Construction. I'll just call it construction. Whichever. Let's just this. Sorry. Okay. Okay, let's take care of these ones. Phrase, we can call it actor. And then we can, so we have one imperative and one, oh yeah, these are three different question type, phrase types. We have like a declarative, and then we have a question. And then the questions, so we can have like question, command, declaration. And these three can become phrases. And we have actors, so that would be the I coming already, you coming already, or no. So then we would want to make declaration can become both question or command. And then finally they will become phrases in the start cat. So because we want to be say like, okay, so I come, and that could become like coming already, you coming already, come already. I don't know if you can put already in an imperative or not, but so maybe we can, yeah, this can be, this is declarative. So let's just keep it with these three, and all of them can become phrases also as standalone. So let's start with these like just correlation functions. So phrase is question to phrase, command to phrase, conversion to phrase. To start category. Question out of to question. So this is like the icon. Am I coming already? Or like, yeah, you come. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's okay. That's good. That's easier. Just okay. So you coming. Are you coming? Is this or even like, okay, so you coming or no? It's already something that would these sentences make sense without the already? What was the, yeah, I coming already? You coming already or no? I coming means I am coming. Yeah. And I coming already. Oh yeah, okay. So that's a tense. So already means tense here. Okay. Oh, that's good to know. So we can, that's sort of optional here. And so let's make them yeah, let's make some actions also. I okay. Yeah, so like for instance in these, like I could in an application grammar, like I could very easily like I could skip the whole like transitive verb, intransitive verb level if I wanted to make that, like if that didn't make a difference in my application. So I could have like I could either do this like buy food as an action and like action, or I could also do, if I wanted to like make it more granular, I could do like buy is a function from, let's make also like an object to distinguish between the semantic and syntactic. So food, yeah. So this is like one option. Okay, so come is always an action because it doesn't have any arguments. But I could also say that food is a function from object to action. Like this. So verbs. Okay. And then what I could do is I could say okay, I'm gonna use the word thread again here. Like you can make it whatever. Yeah, we can be consistent. So let's no, we're not consistent. If I'm saying everything, I'm lying. So I want to do the constructor function from that takes actor to action, actor and action, and makes it into declarative. So maybe yeah, I'll just call it thread. Actor, action. So you and again, so these are the abstract syntax names. So okay, so let's do this like we okay, we have 5 minutes of time, but like I don't mind if the class wants to go have lunch, like I can stay here, but let's do at least oh yeah. No, let's add the tense. Yeah. So already. So let's say again. I'm gonna call them now present and perfective. Present thread, perfective thread. You can always change the names. I'm just like making stuff up like completely on the fly. So let's see what. Syntax error. Oh, yeah. Let's do the flags. Space. Okay. Oh yeah, I didn't. Oh yeah, because I didn't do any actors yet. So. Let's make 2 actors. And then let's make 2. So now we get, if we just, let's ignore like these for a moment, just to get started. And here we have these, I buy food, I come, you buy food, you come. Like you buy food, you coming already, you buying food already. Just comment this out so we have only one way of making this, okay? And now if we, let's make a concrete syntax for this. Concrete. What should I call this language? The instruction S for whatever Singapore, and then I'm gonna do standard English as another. So linkat. This is one of the cheats. I'm like so by the way, if I don't give a linkat, it's default the record with a string. So I know I'm going to change it later, so I'm just going to comment it out and it's going to work. So in E to P, P, P. This is like how to get started easily. When they all are the same linkat, I'm just like, you can always do this. This is going to be later. So then I'm going to do this linearizations of I is just, let me make some operas. So I don't need to, I don't need to type them. I don't need to type so many curly braces and semicolons. You can always change this later. So I is I. U is you. Come. But food is food, and buy, which takes an object. Okay. That's the GIF. I'll take it here. Instruction. Oh yeah, I need to also comment out the word link at it. Okay. So this line 21. Oh yeah, this is still pasting. Our present thread would be so actor action is just combine these two, and then for perfective, I combine them, and I would put the word already there. Okay, so this is that's what it's giving you as a warning. So this is very helpful, inserting defaults. So now we do GTL minus tree bank. I buying food already, I coming already, you buying food already, you coming already. And so that's, and now we can take the questions though. So D to Q, make question. S plus plus or no. And then we need to also Q to P. Okay. And now we have the questions. No, we don't have the questions. What's wrong? What's missing? Oh, did we comment out? Oh yeah, we commented this out. That's not right. This is how I want to make. This is like how I make the declaration to question, and this is how I make question phrase. So, phrase. I have these two functions. Are cat, let's see, gt cat. Yes. How about people? Fix those. Question. No trees found. Okay. Strange. So I have this D to Q here. It's, oh, this one is commented out. That's why. Yeah, don't comment stuff out when you write them. That's stupid. Yeah, now it's doing the questions. So let's finally do all of it. So I buying food already, I coming already, you buying food already, you coming already. I buying food already or no? You coming already or no? I coming or no. So it's all the combinations. And then if we did the translation, CP construct. Okay, so now we're making this in a more sort of, we need to actually so this is obviously like not yet, just a very quick cosmetic changes. Like now if we do so do you have come? But like, you know, you get the idea. Like it's a bit better than like, so you have come, you coming already. And in like, yeah, I have come, I coming already, versus you come, you coming. Yeah, the questions are a bit silly, but like that's just a starting point. Like, you know, that's what I did in the super quick time. Do you have buy food? Like, yeah, obviously you need to then say that, have you bought food? And the thing is, like, in this English version, we can totally use the resource kernel library. So you can always do this, like open syntax eng paradigms eng in blah blah blah. Because here you don't need to reinvent the wheel, because like you can make these linkets. Like now when you make the linkets, you will use like whatever is in the resource kernel library. This question, maybe that's a QS command is imp, decal is s, and actor is noun phrase, action is verb phrase, object is also noun phrase. And obviously, like I'm gonna stop now so that we can all have lunch. But like, this is just an idea. So like when you make this language, which is like, this is a language variant that doesn't have a resource grammar for itself. So you can kind of, you get both worlds in this. You get to fiddle with this, like, oh, what's the rules here? Oh, question is by doing or no. Perfect is adding the word already. And here you can use everything we have in the resource kernel library. Very bright screen. Like all the things we have here, which I'm actually going to present tomorrow. So I will not talk about this anymore today, but just tomorrow, that's exactly what we're going to do. How can we construct an imperative? Oh, we need a VP. Okay, cool. We have a VP here, and so on. So I will commit these two fragments. I think like now the English is not compiling, so we don't get anything. So we need to do GT lang s, and now you get the stuff. So here we get the you coming already. I'm buying food. I'm buying food already. I know. Okay. Wow, I went 10 minutes over time. Thanks for not falling asleep. At least no one's fallen asleep yet. I'm going to commit this, and yeah, we can basically yeah, let's let's finish here. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about how to use the Resource Grammar Library. Any questions, ask on Discord. We here in the classroom, let me show the classroom, proof that people are not sleeping. We're going to have lunch and then we'll be back here in the afternoon at some point. See you later.
Loud.
We can also stop the stream on YouTube.